2 hours later.
Hey everyone, and welcome to World Cinema Breakdown, or in short, WCB. And as usual, this is Utkarsh Raja, and I'm so excited that you could join me today. Well, what are we going to look at today, you ask? Today we're going to look at episode 7 of Peacemaker, the penultimate episode. And boy am I excited, but before I dive into this episode, I just wanted to remind everyone that I'm so close to reaching my goal of 250 subscribers. I'm less than 5 subscribers away, so please help me in getting to that goal by hitting the red subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And while you're at it, might as well give this video an upvote, a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't seen the first 6 episodes of Peacemaker, please go watch them. This show has been very exciting. And also, my reviews for the first 6 episodes can be found in the description below, so please check them out as well. Okay, let's dive into this episode, episode 7, also known as Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Clearly, the title Stop Dragging My Heart Around is not only a pun, but it's a reference to Peacemaker's father, his very crazy and messed up and racist father, also known as White Dragon, hence the term dragging my heart around. So obviously this episode had high expectations because it's the penultimate episode, meaning the second to last episode, and usually in a show, the second to last episode is the one that has the most action and most plot building happening, and the final episode is usually just to clean it up a little bit and maybe also end on a bang. And this episode did not disappoint, as it had a lot of big moments. And literally from the very first scene, it starts off with a bang, so to speak. And it starts off with, us getting a flashback of Peacemaker's childhood, which was very necessary because throughout the series, there's been a buildup of basically him feeling really upset every time he's thought of his brother or his childhood. Obviously, this event is going to be traumatic for anybody of any age, let alone a child. I mean, he accidentally just killed his brother, and he's been living with that guilt his entire life. Not only his child life, but his adult life as well. And even at this age, he keeps on getting that guilt, and that's why he's not able to connect with people, because he's constantly guilty. And the sad part is, it's not even really his fault. It's his messed up father's fault. But, when the scene shifts to present day, we see Peacemaker's being extremely impatient, and he wants to get to this mission as soon as possible, so much so that he doesn't even need anyone's help.
Where are you going? Vigilante and me might as well get this done before they find us. What done? Kill this fucking cow.
We are? Cool.
Coming?
No.
Personally, I find this very stupid considering the fact that, they have this massive team that's literally developed for the purpose of handling this big crisis, and he's trying to take it all on by himself, and that's clearly not going to work. And on the other hand, we finally see Leota getting grilled by people because people finally figured out that she's the one who planted, the book that got Peacemaker into trouble, and now he's all over the news. So Mern and Hardcore are kind of grilling her. And the scene finally shifts to Judo Master. I mean, this man has been missing for the last 2 episodes, and I kept on wondering what happened to him because we never saw him die, we never saw him disappear, so I'm so glad he's finally back.
Man. You scared the shit out of me. It's a fucking leprechaun, man. Oh my God, he's hilarious looking. Oh, he's getting mad. It always after me like it charms. I love it.
Obviously, Judo Master reappears later in the episode with a little showdown, so to speak, and I'm going to touch on that later. But let's talk about the main big showdown that this entire episode is titled around, and we knew this was coming all along. We knew a big battle between the White Dragon and Peacemaker was bound to happen. So, this sequence was cool and great, but also a little disappointing in many ways. And what I mean by that is, he enters with a massive bang, quite literally, and that entrance was spectacular. And this entire fight between the White Dragon and Peacemaker has been built up for so long, so the expectations were extremely high. And personally, they didn't meet, I enjoyed it, right? I had a good time watching the sequence, but I expected a little bit more, simply because, not only has there been such a massive build up to this, but also the fact that the White Dragon is kind of portrayed as a scary guy with so many powers. And I do understand that Peacemaker didn't fight him alone, and he had Economist and he had Vigilante by his side. But, despite that, I wouldn't have expected the fight to go so easily. I mean, yes, obviously there was a lot of damage taken. Vigilante got seriously hurt, and Economist got a little hurt as well. But still, overall, nobody really had too many repercussions because of this fight. So it was a bit surprising how easy it was for Peacemaker to just take out with the white dragon, the supposed very scary white dragon, and his entire crew. I mean, they were kind of useless and just completely didn't even help at all, and they were kind of just there. So I was a bit surprised how easy it was for Peacemaker to take him out, but I do understand the emotional significance of Peacemaker finally killing his dad, and that was necessary all along because his dad, as I've already mentioned, is a crazy person. He's a racist, and he's definitely messed up in so many ways. And he was basically colluding his son's mind and allowing him to live with that guilt. So killing him off allows Peacemaker to finally have a massive burden off of his chest, because now not only has he rid the earth of somebody who's so just evil, I guess, but also that emotional trauma he's been dealing with his whole life, he can finally maybe set that aside. Of course, now he has to deal with the trauma of killing his own father. But besides talking about all this traumatic stuff, let's talk about the comedic elements in this, because I really did enjoy the few scenes. There was that scene with the raccoon, of course, and then the scene where the white dragons, his little lackeys, they forgot the key in the ignition, and then Vigilantes just runs off with the car.
You left your keys in the car.
What? I was rushing.
Ignore it. Let's go.
Meanwhile, we see that Hardcore and Leota are trying to stay out of the way of the cops who are being controlled by butterflies, and those cops arrive in Mern's place, and he's not able to escape in time. And as expected, because this was bound to happen eventually, I guess, we finally lose Mern. And not only do we lose Mern, we lose the what he stood for. He was a butterfly. He knew the ins and outs of these butterflies, and now we've lost him.
How the fuck are we gonna do this without him?
Ding dong, bitches!
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now.
And this Mern death hurts in so many ways, because not only was he a butterfly who knew the ins and outs of butterflies, and he knew what to do, when to do it, and maybe how to find the cow and things like that, but he was also their leader. He was their boss. Now, they don't have that direction anymore, so obviously they're going to have to address that later on, which, they did. But the ending of this clip, oh my god, this is the exact reason why I love Judo Master so much, and I was waiting for him to come back, and thank God he did, because this man just pops out of nowhere, starts beating up people without even saying a single word, and that's exactly what happened. And in this case, Leota and Hardcore had to work together to fight him, and considering they had their differences, pretty sure this brought them closer together. But speaking of the fight itself, this was fascinating, because while this might not have been the most epic, quote-unquote epic fight of the season, I have to say this was easily the most fun fight of the entire season, because it felt so real and visceral, and I just wanted to see more and more of it, especially because there's not much fighting chemistry between Leota and Hardcore that has not been developed yet, and also the fact that Leota has no training at all, so she's just trying to save her own life, and that made it so real and fun. But like I said before, because of this fight, you can clearly see that some of their differences were being erased, and they were maybe coming closer again after the whole betrayal situation.
What was your job before this?
I ran a dog shelter.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And speaking of the betrayal situation and Leota, clearly she feels very guilty about everything she has done, because, she is probably the most human out of all of these people at the end of the day, because she's new to the team and she hasn't been corrupted by things like power or the guilt of killing others and things of that nature. And we can especially see that in the scene where Peacemaker is really upset, and we're at the vet, and Peacemaker is hugging Eagly, and Peacemaker's just telling God, like, oh, please save Eagly, this is my everything, this is my pet, this is my life, blah blah blah. And she feels very emotional, and later on when they're back in the van, she even apologizes to Peacemaker.
I just wanted to say, I know what I did, and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have.
Forget it. I don't give a fuck. You said we were a team. That's obviously not the case.
And as you just saw in this clip, while she does apologize, and you could tell this was a genuine apology, but Peacemaker doesn't want any of it, and you can't really blame him, right? Because he trusted her the most out of anyone in the team. He even poured his heart out to her, invited her to his house, just to talk and have a good time and get to know her. And here she is planting things and getting him into trouble. So of course he's not going to come around that easily. But hopefully he does come around by the end of the season. But there's only one episode left, so not too much time for that. And speaking of the ending, oh my god. This ending was probably the most crazy ending of any of the episodes in this season so far, and rightfully so, because like I said, this was the penultimate episode, so we kind of have to we have to expect some crazy things happening, and this was definitely crazy, and this is exactly what I mean. So we finally get to see the butterflies and their operation and how they're running and how many people there are. And mainly, we finally get to see this cow that we've heard of so many times. And oh my god, I thought this entire time, I kept thinking it's an actual cow. Of course it's not an actual cow. It's this weird, bizarre, alien sort of cow. And oh my god, this thing looks nothing like a cow. This thing looks freaky, scary, disgusting. But I think that's the point, right? The shock value is there, and it looks more kind of alien-y, so there's that. But it's so massive. And I wonder if this cow has any powers, or, besides just being able to feed these butterflies, what else can this cow do? And how exactly do you even, kill this cow? So I'm sure we're going to get the answers to all these questions in the final episode, episode 8, which comes out in a few days. But I think this episode did a pretty good job of kind of wrapping up certain things, especially the whole the emotional stuff with Hardcore, Peacemaker, and the White Dragon. So a lot of that has been addressed. But now all that needs to be dealt with is kind of the future of this team. How are they going to defeat the butterflies? And also, how does it set up how does it set up season 2? Because it is, it has been officially announced that there will be a season 2. And that was kind of expected, because if you're going to take on, John Cena for, one show, you're obviously going to want to milk that and keep going, especially with a character that's so new in the people's eyes. Peacemaker hasn't been around for that long in terms of movies or shows, so obviously there were going to be more seasons, but I'm excited for that, and kind of to see the transition between season 1 and 2. In season 2, are they going to continue to fight the butterflies? But hey, that's a conversation for us to have in the next video, so please be on the lookout for Peacemaker episode 8, which will be the final episode, so I'm super excited and I have high expectations. But until then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, peace.